All right, we're here, heading in right now to pick up our next guest on Riding with Intent, Keight Walker with The Brokery.
Nice rig.
Thanks. Got it clean just for you. Where are you from?
I'm from Missouri.
Missouri. When did you come to Arizona?
Because it was very different from Missouri. Missouri, you can drive 8 hours in every direction and it's pretty much the same. But here, if you drive for 6 hours, it's a totally different world.
Oh, we just drove 4 minutes south and it's already a different world.
Exactly. Yeah, my son and I were watching a movie the other day that was from the 80s, and I had to pause it and explain in detail what a phone booth was.
Yes.
And a phone book.
Right.
He was like, what is this thing?
Exactly. What is Superman changing inside of over there? Is it like a mini apartment? Like, what is he doing? Are apartments really that small in New York? What's going on here?
Yeah, he was completely mystified.
Yeah.
The one thing I've noticed that has come back is vinyl records. You can hear the scratch and pop of the needle, and it has this texture that doesn't exist if you're listening to Spotify.
Exactly. Well, vinyl records are like cool cars. Like, they're always going to be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
That's why they're going to stick around.
So what kind of car would you want to put in your garage?
93 Ford Mustang. I still own it.
Really?
It's there. It's about the ugliest hot rod ever. It's not really all that fast. They were clearly not made to do the right things, but it's what I grew up with.
Do you maintain it, or is it all sort of just decomposing?
No. My mom, she took it over and she was like racing it competitively and kind of keeping the dream alive because, of course, she no longer had kids at home. She now had the disposable time and income to go do that. But even she's getting bored with it now. So it's like, do we get rid of this long legacy that we've always had, or do we save on to this giant garage placeholder? Although I do think of how cool it would be to pull up at the drop-off with my old Mustang just making all sorts of rowdy noises and stuff. They're just like, there we go. It's funny. With all 3 kids, I feel like 2 out of the 3 of them would be mortified. At least one of them would be like, yeah, that's my dude.
There's going to be a lot of disapproving moms wearing yoga pants staring you down.
My wife included, like, oh, really?
My parents, they're from Missouri and they live on a lake. It's called Lake of the Ozarks.
Is that the one where they filmed that movie, Ozarks?
That's right.
I'm sure that has nothing to do with them.
No, they're a little perturbed about that show. It's not an accurate representation of the lake.
I feel like that's probably a fairly small community, and so that show's probably made a bit of a wave. I read too, you went to LA and you were like in the movie business. What did you do?
I went there. I wanted to be a screenwriter for television, like 1-hour drama. So at the time it was CSI was brand new.
Yeah.
Sopranos was brand new. I worked at a production company. They did not make television. They made films. So I was their primary reader. So you get thousands of scripts and someone had to read them and decide, is this any good or not? So 99% of them are not.
You're like, this is amateur junk, like, next.
Pretty much, yeah.
You probably had more to read than you could ever read.
Yeah.
How do you, like, was that just a passion of yours growing up? You're like, I want to do this?
I was always into reading and writing, but it never occurred to me, I never studied screenwriting. I have an English degree, and I wrote a couple of novels that are horrible, that I would never let anyone read.
Were they ever published? Will we be able to find them when we do our research?
No.
No?
No, they are gathering dust in a box somewhere.
So does that make you a movie buff?
I'm very, very open when it comes to film. So even if something is terrible, I will try to examine why it's not good, and I also recognize, even though this failed, there were a ton of people who worked as hard as they could. And for whatever reason, it went off the rails.
Even the bombs did. So then what's your what's your favorite film that was created in the last 5 years?
I'll go back further than 5 years. There was a film that came out by Christopher Nolan, who did the Batman trilogy. It was called Memento. And it was a guy who had no short-term memory.
Yeah, I remember
Memento.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that's a great film. And I remember when I saw it, I remember thinking, if that script came across my desk, I would not have been smart enough to understand it, and I would have rejected it.
That would have been tough in script form.
Right. I would not have understand what I was seeing, and I would have gone, no, this is no good.
Just like that, Monday morning, all done.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. See, and I was gonna I was going to make us hike to the top of Camelback Mountain today, but I'm pretty glad that I didn't.
I would have.
Yeah, I know. I would have too. I would have done it in these shoes. I mean, it would have been entertainment, but I think hanging out at the Biltmore and chilling was just as fun.
It was great.
It was.
I appreciate it.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
You too. Bye.
So there you go, Keight Walker with The Brokery. We went to my old stomping ground, which is actually their stomping ground too, at the Arizona Biltmore. We sat on the patio where I used to work, and we talked about our kids. Good times.